Hello, I am Lava Canyon. This topic I would have thought would be worth just a paragraph or so, but I feel it needs deeper analysis to really explain this. Pokemon the Trading Card Game Live is the replacement for Pokemon the Trading Card Game Online. There has been a few issues with it. It's a beta, it is a work in progress, but mainly the controversies have been with them removing a big mechanic in the original game. I'm talking about the trading system. The original online game had the ability for people to trade with other users or put their cards on the market publicly. Many people are beginning to get used to the change, and I am somewhat bitter, but overall fine with it on a general level. However, and perhaps it shouldn't get to me, but I really can't get over this stuff unless I talk about it. It's the justification. The justification for removing trading was to solve a problem that plagued the original online game. Whenever there was a sought-after card, those that had the card would raise the prices of those cards to exorbitant amounts. And this was definitely the case. I was playing the online game since Gen 6, and it was often the case for top-tier cards. I don't have evidence for this specifically, but Tapu Lele GX back when it was new was very difficult to acquire. Unopened packs were sort of the currency for the community, and Lele you couldn't get for under 20 packs during its legal run. And it was a very good card. It was a Jirachi EX with its supporter search, and a Mewtwo EX with its universal clutch attack. And many people were locked out of it, including me for its runtime. And so the justification for removing trading was to fix this exploitation. If this already doesn't make logical sense to you, then awesome, you caught on as fast as I did when I heard that. But if you didn't, I suppose it is worth understanding the point of view of the Pokemon Company further. People who just wanted to gain a fair chance than others had to fork out lots of packs or real money if they went through third-party sellers like eBay. For being digital cards controlled by a central force, I can understand why I'd feel gutting to pay so much. And this does show a bigger controversy of pay-to-play games in general, that all players had to do is to pay a lot of money to be at the top of the tier list. Get the good cards when others are too poor, or accept that you will be structurally disadvantaged. Removing trading would stop this, and in practice it has stopped it. Live has been out for a while, and you don't see high-priced eBay listings for cards of the game. There is a few ways I can begin to deconstruct this reasoning. I have had trouble explaining the problems before, so I have to choose my words carefully. Why would somebody spend hundreds of dollars on a card in the first place? I guess there's a few reasons, stats, abilities, other people are using your cards. However, the core reason why they spend so much is because they have no other choice. Choices. Just thinking about trading on its own, nothing else. What happens to this scenario when trading is removed? Trading exists. They pay $200 or so on a single card. Trading doesn't exist. They don't pay $200 or so on a single card. The upside of this is that the player still has $200 or so, but what of the card? In the original online game, you can get cards through packs. In real life, this would also be the primary way, but that isn't very guaranteed. Losing lots of money would be a shame. Why would somebody willingly choose this? The answer should be obvious, at least to me. They willingly choose to spend so much so that they can get the card. There are actually 3 scenarios here. Trading exists, they buy the card. Trading is removed, they don't buy the card. And trading exists, but they choose that the price is too high, so they don't buy the card. The second and third option are the same results, so anyone choosing the third wouldn't mind there being no trading. But the one choosing the first option is left without what they'd prefer to do. Looking at it at face value, it does seem pretty sad to see so much money lost to an online game. But to me, it's sadder to see someone forced to having less options. They don't lose money, sure, but they don't get the card either. I hope I explained this well. However, I have been a little crude binding this to only trading, as there are other factors involved that are important to bring up. Those other factors is that Live solves this no card issue that I demonstrated. They make cards accessible and reasonably cheap. Looking at this graph, it's 750 credits per V, which is the same for GX and EX. It is difficult to value these as they don't have a direct conversion, but it is reasonably easy to get that amount by just playing, and you can trade in 3 Vs of any kind for another. You get credits all over. Whenever you get a card you already have 4 of, it gets converted into credits automatically. If all 15 cards in the pack were commons, for example, that'd be 150 credits per pack. So, mathing that up, at the absolute most, if you use real-life pack pricing, that would be $25 for a Tapu Lele. Of course, it'd be less than that, probably way less, but this is the absolute static height. So, where was I going with this? Oh, well, this is great. They made cards easy to get, more accessible for newcomers, so removing trading ended up being a good thing after all? This is where debates between the two sides generally go. Now you compare the $200 the Tapu Lele was in online versus at most $25 for Live. Of course anyone would prefer to pay $25 instead of $200. But this is a deflect. It doesn't seem like one at face value, but it is. It is very important to understand. This isn't an argument about trading versus crafting. This is an argument about trading versus no trading. The reason for removing trading was to stop the price gouging. It was to stop the high prices. This reasoning is what I have a problem with. And I think the idea that people refer to the crafting system as the main point against trading opens up an interesting fact. The problem with the high prices isn't the sellers, it's the accessibility. Removing the choice to trade does not solve accessibility. It's what Live fans reflect to that would solve it. The ease of gaining cards, making Vs cost less than 25 rather than hundreds. Trading does not have a position here. This adds more choices to the list. They choose not to buy? Whatever. They buy the card for hundreds of dollars from a third party, or they choose to buy the card for $25 from the Pokemon Company itself. The way to fix this problem is to offer more options, not to limit them. You won't see a Tapu Lele for $200 if the company themselves sell them for less. Well, at that point, what would even be the benefit to trading at all? I suppose you might as well just shelve it if the first party choices are always better. I don't believe so. I don't mean any ill will with this company as I bring this idea up, but third-party sellers sell cards so high because they are valued so high, and people keep buying. Nobody ever just puts their foot down and chooses to just not have the card. So why would a first party be different? Would we boycott a card if they chose to jack up the price? What if they added microtransactions or a gacha system? I mean, we trust the company not to do that. And I mean, they want us as customers. But if we didn't bother for third parties, why would we now? Especially if the changes were gradual and small. We may not even really be mentally aware this is happening. The company making this client seems pretty cool though. However, a trading system would make sure this never happens. As the Pokemon Company competed with the third-party sellers, the same could be done the other way around if the market decides as such. As it stands, all ultra rares are the same price in Live, but many aren't that viable or good. Traders may be able to compete with the lower tier cards. Get a Magearna for 500 credits instead of 750. Casual players who just want to play with their favorite Pokemon would have it easier to get them, assuming their favorites were low tier gameplay wise. But if not, then the first party will have the market, and that's not so bad either. It's competition, people competing to get their cards traded, The lowest prices would win out, whether it's first or third party. I am doubling down my belief that there is no downside to trading. And I partially wonder if the motive for removing it was not to fix the high prices, but specifically to remove the competition. But being that the polls show most hate trading, they may be going for the majority. So perhaps I feel inclined more so to sway the public's outlook on this. I believe many to be misguided in what they are putting their hatred towards. Why not both? Why not trading and crafting? Perhaps I should be ready to end the video, but there is also the social factor of trading. Casual trading between friends of the community was a subset of this whole mechanic I think people take for granted as well. It is the Pokemon trading card game after all. It's fun to trade. There is partially an ego factor with it, showing each other their collections and bartering some deals. But a lot of the friends that I have on my account were started this way. I suppose it's a small memory we can put aside, but it was a genuine and nice experience for me.